Chapter 3 Letter to Bovine House, London, England, May 9th, 1889. Letter to Bovine House, England, dated May 9th, 1889. My dearest Professor Taurus, I write to you now in severe distress as we prepare ourselves to journey back to England at a date far earlier than initially expected. Dr. Morningstar's condition worsens by the hour, it seems. The local doctors here seem as baffled as Jamie or myself are in regards to his condition. An infection has taken hold of him, it seems. It is beginning to spread from his eye, causing a great discoloration of his face in the form of deep purple capillaries and veins, spreading like the pigment of watercolor across the canvas of his skin. His flesh bears an almost frostbitten appearance, if more purple than black, despite its apparent healthiness and continued blood flow. Any further examination of the area is made intensely difficult by Dr. Morningstar's continued descent into a fevered mania. The infection began, I believe at least, early in our examination of the site Dr. Morningstar had been summoned to investigate. The colleague of theirs who had initially invited them to the area during an unrelated excavation, Dr. Theodore Cetus, had long since left the site themselves, leaving the area devoid of fellow researchers upon our arrival. The discoveries we had made were truly quite fascinating. A series of pottery shards which failed to match any recognized style or era, along with architectural designs and written language markings which matched Ray's previous research. However, over the course of that first day, the doctor's attention was drawn more and more to some form of strange fungal growth on the walls of the site. I have attached duplicates of my own sketches for your consideration, and I believe Jamie has sent a botanical sample ahead to his sibling, Easton, and their employer, Dr. Quickson, for further examination. I know it is unlikely that this mold could be the same source infecting Dr. Morningstar now, but, Professor, I cannot help but draw similarities between that strange mold and the creeping purple markings consuming Dr. Morningstar's visage. His condition worsened significantly over the following days, accompanied by the continued spread and deepening of the discoloration. First it was merely a rambling absence of the mind, a lack of focus, incoherent mumbling to himself of dreams and voices, coupled with an irritability not usually in his character. He became more sporadic as it continued, however, rummaging through our site, drawing on the walls and floors with chalk and charcoal in attempts to decipher the discovered glyphs, abandoning his journals altogether. These fits of intense passion seemed to be followed by long stretches of melancholy, and even unconsciousness or immobility. It has gotten so bad that he was unable to move independently as we exited the site this morning. Jamie contracted a local man to aid them in carrying the doctor to the ship, his gaunt frame limp on the stretcher which bore him. As I write this letter to you now, Professor, his unconscious mumblings worsen, and Dr. Morningstar seems increasingly distressed in his half-awake state. We wait for our ship to arrive in the morning, which shall take us to Italy. From that point we shall continue to England, where proper medical help may hopefully be provided. I fear for the doctor's health and his manic state of mind. I am also quite saddened that our time here, in the patron city of my namesake, has been sullied by this dire event. I had hoped my presence here, in a place I should have such nominal connection to, would help clear some of the doubts and fears in my mind. I am still having the dreams, Professor. The same dreams as at home, visions of the world in flames, reduced to cinders at my feet, the feeling of my skin stretched tight over my body's frame, coated in dried ashes and blood as I look down at the world, seemingly far below. I hear the calling of the voices in pain around me. I hear the voices of my friends and my loved ones begging me, pleading for me. Yet the dreams have changed, in some ways too. I see creatures. I think they are creatures, for they most certainly are not human. Something else within this hell. Strange shadows moving about me. A bear-like beast, stalking through the flames. A figure with two heads, each clawing at each other for supremacy. And I see the twisting tendrils of a distorted frame, a mess of darkened flesh and bone twisted beyond human semblance as it shambles through the wreckage of my life. And I have seen most recently a great shadowy cloud, black as night and looming over all. This cloud, it laughs at the pain being caused. It pushes towards me, and I can feel the pressure building in the air as it presses closer and closer. It terrifies me deeply, Professor. It all does. Everything that has happened of late. I have awoken more than once, screaming into the night and drenched in sweat, startling Jamie to attention in the adjoining rooms. As is within their nature, they attempt to comfort me when they can, though I have never brought myself to tell them of the content of these dreams. And what scares me the most, Professor, is that in these dreams, I seem to relish in it all. I can feel it in my chest, an apparent overwhelming feeling of joy in the carnage. A sense of comfort and ecstasy that I feel when experiencing these dreams of horror and despair. When I awake, they become nightmares, terrifying me to my very soul. But as I have them, in that moment, in the dream itself, I can only laugh. That is what scares me the most, that I enjoy the pain I cause in these frightful visions. I am sure they will pass. They have passed before, for periods of time. They have just never been this frequent, nor this extreme. I hope they pass soon. I have more pressing concerns at this time to occupy myself with than my own well-being. Jamie is worried about me. Then again, they're always worried about one thing or another, I think, even if they elect not to show it. As for Ray, his worries are better placed in regard to his own condition, if indeed he can manage to formulate worry at all in his current state. I am not sure what comfort or explanation you could give to me in response to this letter. I am not entirely sure if I am writing this in search of guidance, or if I merely seek the catharsis of speaking to you. Perhaps it is neither, or perhaps it is both. If I am not predisposed during our travels with the caretaking of my guardian, I shall write to you again, Professor Taurus. If I cannot, know that I shall be home in England soon. I am sure we may find time to speak on these matters then. I extend my appreciation, care, and best wishes to the well-being of both yourself and Master Warwood. Yours faithfully, Athena.